got a theme song today.
I'm sorry, that was me.
No, it's good to have a little opening theme.
Okay, we are live streaming.
All right, it is 8:31 and at the bell. We got Jason just ducked in under the wire there. Good morning.
Good morning.
We'll call to order the Old Town Laverne Business Improvement District Board meeting for August 3rd. And anybody other than the board is able to view this on the city's live stream by going to cityoflaverne.org/stream. And Eric, could you explain the process if somebody wants to make a comment or a question?
Sure, if somebody wants to participate live during the meeting, they can email their phone number to planning@cityoflaverne.org, and we will call you up and give you an opportunity to speak during public comment.
Great. So it looks like we have the entire board except for Matt Forgy on. Great, good to see you all. Since the last time I got a haircut, which is kind of nice. I feel 10 pounds lighter. Let's start off with the minutes of the last meeting, July, well, actually the last two, the regular and the special meeting, July 6th and 13th. Do we have any corrections or a motion to approve those?
A motion to approve them.
I'll second.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Let's just jump right into Cool Cruise. Craig Hosell is on the line. Everybody should have received an email from Eric with Craig's letter response back from the county regarding the show. Craig, you want to tell us what's going on?
Well,
can
you hear me?
Yes.
It's amazing, you know, because there are car shows all over town every single weekend from Malibu to San Clemente. And I mean, they're getting hundreds of cars because there aren't any car shows, you know, so these cruises are happening, but they're happening on private property. San Clemente is happening on the outlet mall parking structure. Donut Derelicts down in Huntington Beach is happening in a donut parking lot. And there's no organization really to these things, that cars just drive in and go to a donut shop and have donuts and coffee, and there's 200 cars in the parking lot, and it's kind of like they're not organized. So I guess that's how they're being allowed, or because they're on private property, they're being allowed. And down in Malibu, they're having them, with 200-300 cars there also. You saw the comment from the county. I contacted the county board of supervisor, Catherine Barger, and she referred it to the health department. And the health department said, we're still under the state mandate of no gatherings over 50 people or whatever. And, it may change, in a few weeks. I mean, everything's changing, so we don't really know. I can't give you a yes or a no at this moment. But something I noticed on the Channel 5 news last night is in West Hollywood, they had the West Hollywood, what they call the West Hollywood Trading Post. And it opened up yesterday. And it was like a street fair or a swap meet where they had vendors and bands and food booths and whatever. And I'm not understanding how some events, are happening and others are being restricted by the mandate type of thing. The show that I do in Brea, the county board of supervisor there said, it's really out of our hands. If the city of Brea wants to do it, so be it. We're not going to enforce it. It's up to the city, because they would be the ultimate ones to enforce a non-event type of thing. And if you have it and they endorse it, then so be it. And I met with the city manager there, and he said, it opens up a Pandora's box. If I let you have one, then the promoter that does the concerts in the park is going to be wanting to do concerts in the park, and on and on and on. So, it's still an unknown as to how we can get the approval to do this properly. I want to do it. The participants are, I'm getting 20 to 30, entries a week that want to be part of the show. So, it's kind of, I've never had to face this before as a promoter. So, I need your approval, obviously, but how do we get it?
Yeah. Eric, I don't know if you want to weigh in, but I'm assuming that the city's position is it's gonna have to follow the county health direction.
Correct, yes, and as Craig mentioned, it's actually the county order currently does not allow any events of any size really in LA County. And so that's why the response back from the supervisor or the public health department was that at this time that we can't authorize such an event to occur, so.
And that's why I want to investigate this Melrose. It's in West Hollywood, which is in LA County. And how are they being allowed to have an event with hundreds of people, and entertainment and food and,
I know that the county's order specifically allows for flea markets / swap meets, and that's maybe how they're defining it. And I don't know the answer, Craig, to why that's allowed in a car show, wouldn't it be? But the way the county order reads, it specifically does allow for swap meets and flea markets to be open.
And farmers markets
The
too.
farmers markets, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of options for us, and I assume there's no real value for you, or maybe I shouldn't assume this, in just postponing until we know more, or are we best just to cut our losses and say it's canceled for the year?
Well, I need 10 days before the event to order everything I need to order. So, still we could push it to, next Monday or Wednesday, and I would still have the ability to order everything that I need to order, for the event. I want to hold out till the very last minute if possible and, see where it goes. Because honestly, every week something changes. If we go back in what's the word I'm looking for? If we stabilize the COVID spread, then they seem to allow more things. And that's why I can't understand, why is it that a swap meet or a farmer's market, because, one of my comments to the county was people are walking and nobody is usually gathered in a group of people where they're nose to nose. They're looking at cars, and the event's so big that it's spread out to allow people to, have distancing and whatever. And if we had to put up signs or advertise that, face masks are required, everybody, I think, would be pretty understanding of that. So my bottom line is I'd like to wait till next Monday or Wednesday. I don't know how that affects everybody else, but
Realistically, I think there's very slim hope that this is going to change anytime soon. I guess I was thinking when I asked the question more, is it something that you would be interested in looking at later in the year?
Well, our next scheduled event would be the holiday
Right.
car show, and that's November 21. So yes, I like rescheduling it to another date, because then it gives everybody hope that the event's still going to happen. All their entry fees are then transferred to that next event. And, some people have said, well, I can't make this event in August. Can you push my entry to November or make it for next year's Cool Cruise? Nobody has really asked for their money back, and all my paperwork says no refund. So, everybody's pretty understanding, and just, push it keep my money, push it to whatever event I can attend type of thing.
Sidebar question on the event. Would the city consider taking down the D Street closure for the event, or would we work around it?
Well, I think that if the order stays the same that it is, the only way the restaurants are successful is to keep it close to as it is today, so that outdoor dining can still occur.
So if the car show was allowed by the county, you believe at the same time dine-in would occur?
No, that the car show would have to be modified to not be on that section of D Street. We'd have to spread it out elsewhere.
Well, I'd like to hear what the rest of the board has to say. I have doubts about anything happening in August.
I agree. I think it should be pushed. I think we should look to November.
I think I have to agree too. I can't see anything changing. I mean, hopefully it does, but not much time to promote it either. Sorry.
To another date, Mickey, or to the November date? Just push it off.
I kind of think the November date.
Marianne?
I'm an optimist, so we're not doing all the work. So I feel like waiting till next week's not a big deal. I mean, it's different when we're having to do it ourselves, but he's doing all the work. So waiting a week to me is not a big deal. But
How does the D Street closure as it is now affect you, Craig?
I promote that as a VIP area because the participants like to be near the restaurants or, that type of thing. So, I mean, I can adjust to anything. Right now, the university parking lot E, part of it is scheduled for an all Ford. The Mustang Club is helping me do an all Ford Mustang show in that parking lot as part of the show. So it's kind of a show within a show type of thing. So, I would still have the south end of D Street, correct?
Yes.
So, it's taking away half of the cars and I could put them on E Street or 3rd Street. I could make it work. I mean, everybody is really understanding, and no one I think is going to pound their fist and say, well, I bought a VIP spot. And I never say where it's going to be. I mean, I kind of leave it open for things like this. I mean, what if there was a sinkhole in the middle of D Street and I couldn't put cars there? I mean, I don't want to be pigeonholed into a specific area. It's been that way in the past, and that's what they're used to. But literally,
Well, Craig, do you have a date? If you need a date other than the November date, so if I heard you correctly, do you have a date in mind that would be, free on the calendar that would be far enough out for us to table it till then, further discussion? Or do you think we could just go with the November event and, postpone the August?
Well, I mean, this will be the second postponement or rescheduling of the event. So, who knows what's going to happen in the next few months. I mean, we're in August, or it was supposed to be in August. So we got September, October that, we could put the event on. But then if we decide to do the holiday show, it's right on top of whatever date I would choose in September or October. So I think pushing it that far ahead, pray to God that, this whole thing is somewhat, resolved or minimized. That I think would be my recommendation, to push it towards November.
I would think that if we're able to do it in November by combining the two events, you can promote it that way.
Yeah.
We'd end up with a much bigger show in November than we typically have.
Correct.
So I just hate this kind of dribble week by week. Eric, did the council go ahead and give a provisional approval?
Yeah. Yes, they approved the street closure.
So technically, if we got word in the next few days that the county says go for it, we could jump on it if we wanted to have a special meeting. I don't even know if we need to take further action, Eric, since the council's already given approval. But
Their approval was contingent upon the board's approval of the
Okay.
event moving forward, so you would have to have a special meeting to officially vote on it.
so
And maybe I need to reclassify the event with the county and the health department as a farmer's market / car show. Because one of the things that I proposed to the city of Brea was, if you won't give me a car show permit, can I get a peaceful protest of the gas tax with cars parked on the street? And he laughed. He says, I love your attitude. You're always thinking outside the box and trying to. I mean, I don't care how it's classified as long as we can have it, type of thing.
Yeah.
And
Car swap.
is both sides of D Street blocked off for your restaurants up there?
Yes.
the whole street is blocked from Bonita to 3rd Street.
So there's no way you could park cars on one side of the street and
No,
have
the whole
restaurants?
it's
Okay.
blocked at both ends.
We believe though by November, we have every belief that now the rain starts to come, that the street will be open again. Right, Eric? I mean, I know there's not been a date determined, but we're not thinking of a permanent closure into the winter, are we?
Well, it's on here for further discussion, so when we get to that item, we'll talk about it, but I don't have a date now. I don't have any idea when this might be lifted.
Okay.
Well, do we have a motion?
I would like to go one more week if everybody could agree to that, and then we'll pull the plug and put it towards November. I mean, that'll be our plan B, is that we move it to November 21.
How about, rather than scheduling another meeting, we take action to move it to November with the condition that if something changes this week, that we could jump on and reevaluate next Monday. But I don't want to set up another meeting just to say it's not going to happen.
That sounds good.
I agree.
We need a motion to that effect.
I'll make the motion.
Jason, a second.
I'll second.
Who was that? Mickey?
Me.
I think I was first, but it doesn't matter.
You can arm wrestle for it.
You can put.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Yeah, so the motion is, as I understand, that we would move to combine the Cool Cruise in effect with the holiday cruise, and November, is it 21st?
Correct.
And with the condition that if something changes dramatically in the next 5 days, that we could reevaluate it as a board, but otherwise it would just revert to the 21st of November. All
Right.
those in favor of that, say aye.
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 Okay. Craig, it's very unfortunate. I, in fact, was just talking a couple days ago with one of the guys from WAPA, the antique farm equipment guys, and all their shows, of course, got canceled too. And they're saying, "What's going on with Laverne? We love that show. We want to get back there." So
Yeah,
everybody frustrated.
very.
So we'll monitor things. If it looks like there's some movement, we can meet again next Monday. Otherwise, let's start, we'll just plan for November, see how that works out. Thanks for all your work and follow up on this, Craig.
All right. Thank you all too. I appreciate your patience in helping me with this.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Great. All right, so we have another item on the calendar is the beer wine walk. Technically, the actual event host or organizer is the association, and we have an association meeting immediately after this. to take action on this and another item that Mickey's working on. But I think the board can certainly weigh in. Eric, do you have any comments on this?
I do not. So if you had planned, I didn't realize when I set the agenda that you were gonna have that meeting.
Yeah.
So, if you just want to wait and have that discussion at your association meeting, that's fine by me.
Okay.
Can I ask, Eric, does the city have an opinion on the wine walk as it sits now? Because we've moved it to September. And are we in the same boat where it just qualifies under county not allowing it? So just wait, basically, and wait and see? Is that what the city's opinion
Yeah,
is?
today, the county's order would prevent the event from happening.
Okay, well then, all right. What day did we pick, Mickey, for the wine walk? September what?
I think it was the 28th.
Yeah, the last Saturday.
Yeah, 28th. Okay. And we know the LA County Fair has been canceled, right?
Oh, yeah.
All events at the fairgrounds canceled throughout 2020.
Okay.
Ghost town.
Now we
Sorry,
don't have,
It's the 26th, not the 28th.
that's right, 26. We don't have a August meeting of the DIBID, correct?
This is the August meeting.
I meant, sorry, an early September meeting, or do we?
I had set it for, usually we do, and we would have it the second Monday of the month because of Labor Day. So unless there's no reason to meet, I do have it set for
September 14th, right? I see it now. Okay. If we met on the 14th, is it, and the order was lifted, do we have enough time to market
No
the
way.
wine walk?
Not in 2 weeks. No way.
Yeah.
Less than 2 weeks.
Can we make this simple then and just cancel the wine walk for the year? I don't know if it's worthy of tabling it. Any other
Well,
opinions?
again, that decision is really up to the association as the organizer.
Okay, all right.
Is everybody okay with that, holding off for the
Sure.
next meeting for that decision? Let's jump on down to update on the D Street closure. Eric, you want to talk about that?
Just that, you had all agreed to to extend the closure at least to this meeting for further discussion. In the meantime, the only real change the city's done is we added some trees at either end just because we knew it was a little bit longer of a proposal. And then we did receive some public comment that the board members received. One was yesterday. And so those were emailed, so hopefully you all received them, but basically somebody's proposing of doing some chalk art as well. I don't think the board has to make a decision on that. You could provide general direction. It's really a city staff decision. So we have to do some research on our side first before we would make a decision on that. But otherwise, I'm looking really forward, just concurrence from the board on the extension of the closure, and then for how long, I'll leave that to you on what your recommendation is.
So as it stands right now, the city is not providing somebody to wipe down tables, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But
And-
have removed the public tables that are not associated with a restaurant.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
And what about trash? Is the city
The
doing
city
trash?
stopped that as well. One restaurant asked to keep the temporary trash can out there. They are responsible for emptying it and maintaining it.
I do have a comment about that. I was taking a walk last Sunday morning, not yesterday, but the Sunday before, and the trash was overflowing in the trash cans. It just looked terrible. So I know the city obviously doesn't work on Sunday. So is somebody taking care of that? Is that what you said, Eric?
The permanent ones you're talking about, the metal trash can?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I assume that the crews are out there Monday morning, but obviously with the added activity over the weekend, I could see how that would be the case. And they don't have crews working on Sundays, you're right, so.
So can we ask that the restaurants that those trash cans are by, that they take care of it? Because I mean, it looked awful.
Yeah, I mean,
Was
nobody can
overflowing
stop
to
you
the
from
ground,
emptying the trash can, so anybody can take that upon themselves to empty a trash can if they'd like to. We wouldn't stop them, but I'm not out there, so.
No, I know. I'm just saying, well, would that be you or would it be, I mean, I don't mind sending an email saying, you guys, if you have a trash can that's overflowing, please empty it. I don't know if that will help, but, we
Specifically
want it to look nice.
on Sunday, it sounds like it's the biggest.
Yeah,
issue.
Sunday mornings, it's bad.
So maybe if you send out an email, Mickey, and let them know that even though it's a city trash can, that the city's perfectly happy to let the restaurants empty something that looks
Okay.
unsightly. Yeah. So other than that, every time I go by, other than when it was 104, looks really busy. I love the look at night, and with Allegro back open and 4th Street, Chase's, it's really, I don't think it's ever been more lively outside at night. It's really nice downtown. What are the comments you guys are hearing?
Nothing but good things. It doesn't directly affect me, but I think it does help bring people into the city. They know there's plenty of outdoor seating and options with places to go. So I've heard nothing but good things.
How's it working for you, Mickey?
It's hard to say. Again, my customers aren't complaining, even though when our streets were open, they complained all the time about parking. But I think everybody is just happy that, we're trying to make an effort to help the restaurants. So I think if COVID wasn't going on, it might be a different story, but everybody seems to really enjoy it. I did talk to Kenny, and it's definitely hurting his business. So he's trying to be a team player, but it is hurting his business a little bit. But we're all trying to stick together and make downtown work.
Marianne, it doesn't affect you, I don't think, but you're down there.
I don't know. Yeah,
It
doesn't, because, they come in and park in the back when they come, so we don't have any problem, but I walk around down, a lot of positive feedback on it, and a lot of people that I know are really happy to have it because they can come down and walk around a little bit and then sit down and have something, and they don't mind doing that, and it has brought some stuff down here, so I think it looks great myself, but it doesn't affect us at all because we're a service business, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the trees help make it feel like it's not just a disaster zone or something.
Tempe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trees look really nice. Thank you, Eric. I was just wondering, somebody's watering those, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just let those poor trees on that hot asphalt.
Crazy. But all the restaurants seemed, Friday night when I went by, it seemed really, really busy. So it's good.
It's definitely busy. In the morning for Roberta, and then lunchtime a little bit, and then in the evenings it's definitely busy.
Yeah.
So Kenny cited it as being a negative for his business. People can't get in and out as easily, or
Right.
Correct, because they can't just pull up and park, and he's only doing to-go orders. So, you can park in the back, obviously, but you know what a mess it is back there. So it's definitely hurting his business. But he said he wants to be a team player. So that was kind of what he said.
Eric, do you need an action from us to take to council?
I just make sure you basically would agree to have the closure remain until your next meeting and then discuss it, every time. That's how I would expect this to go forward. There's no action that the city council has to take. It was closed indefinitely. There was no date that it was given as when it was going to be removed. So as long as the board continues to support the closure, there's no reason to take any other action.
And our next meeting is September 14th.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
is there room to possibly make like a loading zone if you brought the barriers in slightly? Would that be feasible? Is like for people to stop and run in and pick up a pizza and then hop in their car and keep going?
On Bonita, that'd be pretty tough.
Yeah, it would be. Kenny has that spot behind his building you know, there's that section of parking that's immediately behind him that belongs to him. So if we could maybe recommend a way to advertise for his customers to go in the back, because they don't think about the back. They always think about the front. So maybe there's a way we could help drive his pickups to the back of his building.
Well, I think another thing, I have a friend, pizza owner in Upland, who told me his business is down a little bit as well. And I started thinking about it. When pizza places flourished, when there was no dine out at all. Now that there's dine out with the modification of parking lots and outside seating in the community and around, and a lot of restaurants have kind of adopted that model, there's a little less pressure on going just to get a pizza. So I think it might be a factor of not just the front parking for Kenny. I'm sure it affects it, but it's not as the sole reason, I believe.
And he does, and Chris, you talked to him about this. He does have the option to use that patio, but he's decided that it is not something he wants to deal with
Right.
at this point. So, I mean, if they requested to mark a space in back as a loading space only, could the city approve that temporarily?
Yeah, it is city property. It is a city public lot. So it's possible we could, we've always resisted striping back there just because more cars fit without the striping as we would have to for a normal space. But providing a loading area, if that's something that Kenny was interested in, and 4th Street for that matter, because they're just right there and share that same public parking area, we could look at that if they made that request for sure.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we could ask maybe employees to park in the parking lot on 3rd and D to free up parking, in our congested area there. If,
That's always been our recommendation, even before this, is that employees should not be parking directly by their businesses. They should be parked on the outskirts. And we are enforcing the time limits in the lots, except if you have a merchant parking permit. But the university's lot is not timed or regulated. So it makes sense to have employees to park out there to free up the spaces closer. I agree. I can tell you, I was driving down in that area and I saw a couple of employees parking in the closest spaces in that lot behind Roberta's to some of the businesses downtown. So it's definitely not happening, but I would agree that would be a good recommendation.
Yeah. Well,
maybe I'll put that in the email as well.
Yeah.
it sounds good. There's a lot of things that the businesses, can help themselves with for sure. Anything else on the Old Town street closure? If not, let's jump to Jason and the dinner crawl.
Well, as of last week, we made the announcement that we are going remote online for the fall. So dinner crawl is off, unfortunately. So we don't have any students on campus except for a handful of students that we have in our housing because of housing insecurities. So either they're international or they don't really have any other place to go. So the county has gave us permission to house these people in separate locations as they want to make sure that they have a place to stay rather than be homeless. So we are providing that service to them, but it's going to be limited staff on campus, just like what you see now. It's unfortunate, but we try to hold out as long as we can, but we still don't have any guidance from the state in opening higher ed facilities.
How's your
Wow.
enrollment?
Enrollment is actually doing pretty well, but there's a fear that since if we're going remote, that there'll be a melt, be some people that drop off. But if the situation is that everybody is going to be remote and, the county and the state haven't announced anything like that, then we think we're going to be okay. We did a survey of all the private colleges and universities in Southern California, and we found about most of them were going remote online. There was about a handful that remained optimistic. We're one of the last of the holdouts to make that decision. but we think it's the right decision. There was questions if we should come back mid-semester, and the logistics of doing that, of pausing classes, having people move back, just was not feasible. So we made the commitment that it's going to be for the entire semester. So you're not going to see anybody come back to campus until next year.
And that includes faculty won't be returning,
Correct.
either, right? Okay.
Correct.
So based on that, are we good with continuing use of the parking lot indefinitely?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, very unfortunate, but back to life now. Anything else while you're talking, Jason, that you want to share regarding the university?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, you'll see just minor activities here and there. We do basic maintenance functions. We still are prepping the university to have a return, because I think eventually when we do return in the winter, we're still going to be dealing with COVID. So we're going to be having all our barriers, our PPE, our, all the different signage that gets posted, the floor tape markers, all that stuff still has to be done. We're still swapping out all our filters on campus to have the HEPA filters. So we want to make sure that the environment that people do come back to is going to be safe. Because I think we're going to be dealing with COVID for a period of time, even after we get the vaccine.
Yeah. Any questions for Jason? If not, Eric, any updates on the assistance grants?
So we still have a lot available. We're trying to figure out what to do next. Hopefully we're going to have a better marketing push, and so we're still accepting applications. If you know anybody that needs assistance, please have them look into it.
What are you hearing as the stumbling block now?
Well, so the city's using community development block grant funds, which are federal dollars, which the main requirement of those dollars is that you do have to have an employee, full-time employee equivalent that qualifies as lower income. And so that's an automatic. And I know that that's for some businesses hard to qualify for. Most of the applications we received would be approved, except that the businesses aren't getting the required paperwork into us. Simple paperwork is a stumbling block apparently for a lot of the businesses, and we just can't get them to give us the right documents for us to give them checks. So there's about 40 applications that are pending. We've only given out about a dozen checks, and about 40 are just waiting for us to get more information. So I don't know why it's so difficult, but that's kind of been the biggest frustration right now, in that there's a lot that could be getting checks, but they just got their paperwork in.
Okay. All right, moving on. Anything else, Eric, from the city?
No.
Leah?
Eric, I'm sorry, I have a question. Does the city empty the trash on Saturday mornings?
I do not know. I'll have to ask.
They probably don't, right? Because you
I
guys
think it
don't
was
work.
Friday mornings.
But there's crews that do work on the weekends, so I don't know if that's one of the tasks. Probably not usually, but it doesn't mean that they couldn't. I don't know. So I will need to ask about that.
Can you let me know before I send that email?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say Saturdays and Sundays and then people say, well, the city's here doing it.
Yeah, I will check on that.
Thank you.
I think the bottom line is if the trash can's overflowing, at least pull the bag out or something, do something. And if,
That's another thing. Do we have, maybe can we get, or I don't know, are those extra big bags, or would I have those bags if I was going to empty the trash?
I do
Are
not
they
know.
just like a regular huge?
I will
Find
talk.
out what gallon size they are.
I will talk to somebody.
and maybe we
Thank-
need to get a couple more down there temporary to handle the extra flow on the weekend, but
Especially on my side of the street, that seems to be where the most of the trash is on that side, the west side.
Can we request additional trash cans?
Well, we had all those out there, and Public Works it was a lot of man hours on them to go out there and empty those continuously. So that's why we got rid of them. So again, yes, obviously that's an option, but whether or not what Public Works is willing to do versus what we're gonna rely on businesses, I don't know the answer.
So I really noticed the main users of the street dining, do they have their own trash cans there?
I don't think so.
Well,
They're gonna be
dinner,
served at the
dining
table,
out doesn't
really,
doesn't
no
create trash.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
mean-
donut
Well, you
shop.
know, but I think Cafe Wang is only doing to go, but they have tables set up. So it's all the to go stuff that's going in the trash can. Argo, I want to say maybe Argo's the same way. I don't think they're serving, but you can get to go food and sit out under their Easy Up. So it's all that to go,
Right.
containers.
Cafe One did request to keep some of the temporary trash cans, and they are emptying those that are in their area, so.
Yeah, like I said, it's on the west side. That's on my side of the street the trash cans seem to be really full.
Well, generating trash means something's happening. Business is happening.
Definitely, it's a good problem to have.
So let's move on to chamber. Leah, you've been there quiet. Anything to comment on?
Yes, actually, the chamber with the city and the University College of Law have been working together over the last few months. And on Thursday, August 13th from 2 to 4 p.m., we will be presenting our business clinic. And the idea is you don't know what you don't know when it comes to exposure to litigation with COVID-19. So we have the students working with different law firms. We'll be covering topics of tenant landlord, employment, and workers' compensation. So each of the attorneys will give a brief update of what they see is happening right now with litigation in regards to COVID and what they kind of expect to see in the future. And then we will have an open Q&A for all the businesses that participate. It'll be hosted via Zoom. I mean, they're obviously not going to be able to answer specific questions on any current litigation, but broad strokes of what they expect to see.
Interesting.
And how do they sign up for that?
Zoom, via the chamber email. So I sent out an invitation to everybody last Thursday, and there'll be another couple of notices going out in our newsletters between now and then. It is an exclusive Laverne event. So you're either a chamber member or you're a business in Laverne in order to participate in this.
Great. Any questions for Leah? If not, Mickey, we'll talk about the postcards in a little bit, but anything other than that?
No.
Okay. Anything else? Any other items to bring up? You're gonna staff, Eric, you'll take care of the chalk.
Yeah, yes, if there was so let's go to public comment if we can.
Okay.
There's time on the agenda set aside for public comment.
Right.
As I mentioned earlier, the board did receive 2 emails that I forwarded to you over the weekend on public comment. Anything of those that you'd like to discuss, you can bring up. They will be made part of the permanent record by being attached to the minutes. As I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to participate, you would have to give me your phone number. I've not received any emails with phone numbers, so there's no public comment during this time. But one of the items on one of the 2 emails was a proposal from a local resident to do some chalk art on D Street, no charge to the city. So just kind of as a fun thing to have down there with the tables. Really, as a city staff perspective, we'll have to check just on some liability issues potentially. But other than that, I don't see really any harm in it, but I wanted to get your input on that proposal.
I love it because the pictures that he sent, a lot of people were taking selfies, and I think it would be great.
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea.
the artwork looks great. It's a local resident and seems like a great thing. So.
All right, I think I hear a consensus. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, colorful. Good. Any other public comment or board comments, general comments? Okay, if that is the case, then we're going to adjourn. And then all of you, I sent out an email yesterday prompted by Mickey's postcard request. So since that money would come out of the association needs to discuss that along with the beer and wine walk.
So we log out of this meeting and then we log
Yeah,
in.
technically that meeting, the notice, it said it didn't start till 9:30, but we can just log out. Why don't we join back up in like 5 minutes or so? And
Okay.
we should be able to knock those out pretty quick. I'm going to try to, well, all of you have the mock-up, right?
Yeah.
Receive the attachment. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I should be able to put it up on the desktop too, if there's other people who find the call. So, all right. Thank you, Eric and Natalie.
You are adjourning to the September 14th meeting, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all.
So, yeah, meeting adjourned and until September 14th. Thank you,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you.